Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Chicago Cubs Postgame Show presented by PointsBet. Use the promo code CHGO for 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Losing streak continues. Cubs have now dropped 6 games in a row. 6 games in a row, correct? I have that right, or is it 7 games?
7.
Now?
No, we're at
7 games in a row.
A full week.
The first career start for Keegan Thompson against the Mets does not go well. Man, a whole lot of nothing tonight, guys. I got to be honest. This was one of the more brutal games I think I've sat through all year long, and there's been a lot of them. Cubs shut out for the 4th time.
You must be new here, Kevin.
I am new to this side of the wall here. I'll be honest. I mean, this is the 4th time they've been shut out this year, and I think this might be the worst. This one was awful. I mean, just a horrible game. Nothing went right.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad when we'll get to who you got later, but we were in the 6th or 7th inning. I mean, Seiya Suzuki had that one that went off of Alonso's glove for a single, and we're like debating between whether that's enough to win who you got because everybody else just did a big fat nothing. This was bad. This is not their worst loss that we've sat through all year, Cody, but this was another one. I think it was Brett from Bleacher Nation that put it out there. This is something they've done a lot where the game doesn't go well, and it kind of like slowly trickles into a blowout, right?
Yeah.
Like it was 4-0. You talked about it too. Like Keegan was kind of close to salvaging the outing. It would have been like pretty decent. He ended up leaving a little earlier, and then it just like slowly by the end of the night, it's like, oh, they lost 8-0 again. Great, awesome.
It really felt like the 4-0 lead was insurmountable, though. It was one of those nights where it's like, geez, no runs are going to get scored tonight. Nico Hoerner's your only offense. Suzuki with a couple infield hits, but this is just, it was bad. This was bad.
Yeah, guys, I don't really know what to say. I joked that maybe I can come up with a rant tonight, but I'm at the point. I'm still in the mode of, how we have no expectations, right? Like I'm back in the mode of, it's the Mets. We're not good.
Yeah.
You didn't expect anything. You're hoping Keegan's have a good start and whatever. I mean, this wasn't the most embarrassing loss of the year, and I guess that's why I can't come up with like some gigantic rant for all of you tonight. It's just, this is what it is. I don't know. I think that there was nothing good about this game at all. I mean, yeah, Keegan almost salvaged the outing, kind of almost had his own Justin Steele of last night type outing. But he just, hard hit balls all across the diamond tonight. I think a tweet from the CHGO Cubs account after the 2nd inning, all of the exit velocities for the Mets hitters through 2 innings, and I think the slowest one was 83. Most of them were north of 90.
All line shots into the gap.
Yeah, not good.
They were, JD was wondering on the broadcast if they were, maybe he was tipping something. It's hard to figure out in the moment. I think that's kind of what JD was talking about. Some nights you just don't have command. Keegan didn't have as good command tonight. We've seen plenty of good outings from him that, it's a bad outing. As Joe Madden used to say, you throw it in the trash and move on. But I would be curious if, somebody were able to figure out that there was something more than just him not having command. Because this was not really something we've seen from Keegan really all season. We've seen him have some bad outings, but this was like every single batter squaring the ball up, line drive after line drive. This was a pretty unique outing for Keegan, but, again, part of the learning process.
Can we just stop and just joke for a second that I just feel super far away from both of you, yet you both look very close to each other?
I do notice that in the thing.
It's because of the microphone thing that we have right now.
Yeah, this thing right here.
I can.
Yeah, thank you.
We're coming live from Studio B.
It's like that SpongeBob meme. We're brothers, only closer. Well, first and foremost, if you're just hearing my voice for the first time, Kevin Wells in for Luke Stuckmeyer for the 2nd night in a row. Luke will be back with you guys. No show tomorrow, but he'll be back with you guys next week. He underwent successful colonoscopy procedure. I was trying to make like No, I was trying to make like
we've got Ryan set the over under at 6.5 for colonoscopy mentions.
I think we mentioned it 5 times yesterday. So yeah, happy to be with you guys again. Appreciate it. Comment section blown up. Love you guys all here joining in after just an unbelievable, horrible, boring game. So shout out to all of you guys. Keegan tonight, uncharacteristic stuff. I think if there's a spin zone to this, we can use the word uncharacteristic, right?
Yeah.
4 walks. It's something I'm looking down at his numbers and his splits over the last 2 months. He hasn't had 4 walks. I can't go beyond his May 28th start against the White Sox here, but hasn't had over 3 walks in 2 months. Only 1 strikeout. That's not characteristic of him at all. He had 8, 3, 8, 7, and 9 in his last 5 before that. So 8 hits too. That ties, it looks like a season high for him. So, again, uncharacteristic stuff from Thompson tonight. Didn't have it from the get-go. Still manages to get 4 innings. Only 4 runs at the time, or 5 earned runs. Again, that's not the worst lead. Like, come on, there's more of a chance for this offense to get you back in this game. I don't want to put it all on Keegan. I'm not going to.
Oh yeah, they had 2 different. There's 2 different innings where they had guys on first and second and less than 2 outs, and I think double plays end them both. I know Ortega hit into 1. He's really struggled since the Brewers series ended. I don't think he has a hit since the Brewers series last week ended. Contreras has struggled. Ryan Herrera in the Slack channel tonight, he said Wilson 3 for 34 in July. That's not good for your top 2 hitters in the lineup, man. And his last at bat, he struck out really bad. Like, the strikeout was really bad, too. Like, it was as bad as the swing that I saw last night, too. He's just in a slump. We haven't seen Wilson in a slump at all this season, really, so I'm not worried about it. But when the roster is what this roster is, if Wilson is not doing anything, or Ian Happ, most of the time it's hard to score runs.
You feel the struggles from the main guys. I mean, it's kind of like the rotation in the beginning of the year when Hendricks and Stroman were bad. Everything was really bad because you really need now it's with the offense when Wilson's not going and Morel's not on a hot stretch and Happ isn't on a hot stretch. It feels pretty bad. But, Kevin, to your point about Keegan, like, I think we always have to remember that this year is a learning experience for him. And so even an outing like this, look, we all sat here and watched this game for 3 hours. I didn't enjoy watching them lose 8-0. So when we spin zone this stuff, it's not to excuse the experience, right? It's just, this is what we're all watching. Like, it is a learning experience for him. And you have to remember that, he's integrated new pitches recently. He only threw his new slider 4 times tonight. He was very 4-seam heavy tonight. 53% of the pitches he threw tonight were 4-seam fastballs. And you don't want him to get knocked around like this, but you take this information into the lab just as much as you take his start against the Dodgers. And by the end of the year, you are hoping that he comes into next year with as much information as possible and is the best version of himself as possible. And this is part of the process. Nobody wants to sit through it, right? We don't want to watch this, but everything is part of the learning process, and this team isn't good. So who cares that he didn't have a good start tonight?
Starting pitchers in baseball are not born into success.
Right.
And Keegan has had plenty of success this year. Again, like you said, not trying to spin zone it and avoid the negatives, but those are going to come. He's faced the Mets and the Dodgers in his last 2 starts. That's, for a guy who was in the bullpen, still as a relatively new starter alone, he's still trying to learn that role. We saw on the marquee broadcast a couple times tonight. His delivery is changing. He's going a little bit quicker to the plate.
Yeah.
This is a whole, like you said, it's a whole learning
experience. It's a big
experience.
experiment. Yeah, and it's going to come. But yeah, man, I mean, at the end of the day, the bigger picture is that this team has lost 7 in a row. You look at the pitching matchups for the rest of this weekend. We're headed to what is it, the 5th double-digit losing streak in the last calendar year? I mean, you got Tawan Walker tomorrow, 2.5 ERA. Max Scherzer on Saturday, 2.1 ERA. And Peterson on Sunday, who, his ERA is ballooned up 3.5, right? It looks like they're going to hit 10 again unless something changes. And it's, as, Cody always posts in his rant, we deserve better than this. But Here we are talking about it again, just Same
They
story,
showed me some
different day.
effort tonight. You know, it just seemed like some of these strikeouts that I saw tonight was just some why bother swings, what I like to call why bother swings. And it's just, it hurts as a fan. It's disheartening, right?
Yeah. I'm reading the chat and like I appreciate everyone waiting for my rant. But I like I said at the beginning of the show, like
You can't force him, you know?
Yeah,
You
I'm
gotta
not
be
going to force it
authentic.
in a game where like I didn't feel good about it going in. Like I said, I bet the Mets tonight. Like I even with Keegan on the mound, this team just isn't generating any offense this week. It's wild. They played better offensively against the Dodgers than they have this entire week. They what's his name? Steven in the chat, he says, "Where's the pitching? Where are the pitchers?" I mean, when Keegan Thompson leaves the game down 4-0, David Ross isn't going to put in his best relievers or anything like that. And I'm not going to sit here and criticize Keegan Thompson when he's been the best pitcher for the Cubs all season. Yeah. Far and away the best pitcher for the Cubs all season. I get there's frustration and I get that like we're not good. Like I'm not trying to find any excuses. There's no excuse. And shout out to Michael. I always love his negative comments, especially about Ricketts. But like I'm not going to yell about fans who are in the stands who are just having fun. There's no expectations. There's none. Should there be? Yes, because we're the fucking Chicago Cubs. But like, when you're down 8-0 and people still at the ballpark and they're just happy, who cares if they're just doing whatever they want in the fucking bleachers or whatever? Like, now I've riled myself up after reading the chat.
You're
so
in a
thank
good
you,
lather right now.
Rant.
Yeah.
I'm just
Rant.
I would just rather people be mad about the product on the field than what people are doing in the stands or whatever. Like, this roster should be better. Like, for those 4 straight series wins, like, I don't think that was a fluke. Like, they played well during those series. And the reason that they played well in that series was because they got the starting pitching and they got timely hits. Have they been getting timely hits lately? No. But that's what happens when you have a roster like this that just isn't built to win with all the injuries that this team is at. And again, I'm not putting injuries as an excuse, but like that's just what it is. I can't come up with a reason to why things are the way they are other than the fact that the Cubs didn't do enough in the offseason to put more depth on the team. Like that's basically what it is. So like all I'm saying is this, again, 7 straight losses. We should all be angry. We should all be holding the front office and ownership accountable. No doubt. Absolutely. And if you don't want to go to the ballpark, fine. Don't give Ricketts your money. Don't go on StubHub and get the ticket for half the price. I'm sorry, Corey. And like if that's your way, fine. But don't criticize other fans for going to the ballpark because Wrigley Field is awesome. Like,
yeah,
I that's one of the things that I'm never going to agree with. Like fans telling fans to not go because Ricketts enjoys all of us just having, or he enjoys watching us have fun in the bleachers with a bad team. Ricketts knows he could make so much more money if this team was good.
Yeah,
he knows it. He's experienced it. So there's your rant for the night. Okay,
that was pretty good.
I think that
and deserved too. Don't tell fans what to do.
Yeah,
agreed.
That's the Stucky way.
That is the
Cub
Stucky
however
way.
You want a Cub.
Cub, however you want a Cub. All I'm saying to end this again is that this game sucked. There was nothing good about it. Keegan had an off start. For the 5 starts before this game, he had an ERA of 1.93 coming into tonight. So don't tell me that the pitchers aren't here and what happened to the pitch lab. It's like one game. One fucking game.
Against a lineup with 3 All-Stars.
Right.
Their 4th All-Star's their closer, but this is a great lineup. This Mets lineup is awesome. They score a lot of runs, and guess what? 10 strikeouts again tonight between Carlos Carrasco and Trevor Williams. This team came in 2nd in baseball in strikeouts total. We saw this coming. We knew this was coming.
When you also see, I mean, and the Cubs have had good series against some good teams at times, but You look at this Dodgers series, you look at the 2 games against the Orioles and how I assume the rest of this series against the Mets goes. Like, this is kind of what happens. This team was not well constructed. They are missing some guys. Some guys aren't performing well. You run into good teams, they're better than them. The Mets are better than the Cubs. The Orioles are better than the Cubs. The Dodgers are way better than the Cubs. This is what's going to happen, right? Yeah. It's not always going to be a blowout in the Orioles series. Like some of those, one of those games was like closer, right? But at the end of the day, like those are better baseball teams. They're playing for playoff spots. They're in a better position. This is going to happen the rest of the year. The Cubs roster is going to get worse, y'all. Like, This is all going to get worse. So this is just how it is. None of us want to be here. From the beginning of CHGO, we have all talked about how we got here, how we can proceed forward, and how we feel all about it. But nothing new is really happening on a nightly basis, right? Like this team isn't good. They were not fully invested in the offseason. And when you're in the middle of July, like this is what that looks like. You run into a Mets team that's really good and has World Series aspirations. That's not where the Cubs are. They're going to get blown out from time to time. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Wait, Cody, can you start ranting again? Look at the screen. Yeah, we got a little fire on your head.
I'm going to put that
some steam coming out of your ears. I was working on
heat miser.
I was working on that during literally the entire rant, and I was just so pissed when it ended.
We also, I think it's up there.
I appreciate the chat for pissing me off. I just sometimes I feel like we're yelling at the clouds about the dumbest shit.
Well, yeah.
And that's not to say, like, Michael, for example, like me and Luke have joked that we love when Michael has his rants about Ricketts. Like, it's so on brand of him. Like, it's fine. But, like, sometimes I just feel like, and especially in a game like this, it's like, it's just unneeded, man. Like, I don't know. That's my 2 cents. And, again, like, you can fan however you want to fan. If you want to yell about Ricketts, fine. That's why we don't ever, like, put Michael down for yelling about the Ricketts. It's just like some of the things, it's like some people just aren't really paying attention at what the Cubs are doing or trying to build. And like we've seen very good stretches from this team. We've obviously seen very bad stretches. This 7-game losing streak sucks, dude. Like I'd much rather sit here and talk about the Cubs winning 7 games in a row. I've had to come in here every day this week and do a post-game show about the Cubs losing. And none of the games have really been... They've never really been in. They lost 4-2 to the Orioles the other day. That game felt like a blowout because it was just dull. There was no offense. There was nothing to take away from it that made you feel good about the team going forward. That's what this entire losing streak and this week in general has felt like. There's just nothing that makes you feel good about the future.
I think there was one single thing. It's Nico Hoerner.
Fair. Nico Hoerner. He has been the only good thing about the 7-game losing streak.
2 for 3 tonight. Slash line on the year looks great. That's about it. Seiya Suzuki had 2 hits tonight as well. Yeah. But other than that, this was one. Some of the losses, like even when they're bad losses, to your point, Cody, there is like clear stuff where it's like, okay, this went really well, but like the bullpen blew it, or something like that. Some of these games lately are just very dull. I think that's the best way to put it. It's just like lifeless, just, get it over with almost, right? So
we all knew that. Hell, I tweeted tonight when they were down 1-0. I was like, it's 1-0, but it feels like it's 5-0.
Yeah.
And then it was 4-0 after the second. And I was like, well, that's close enough. Like,
well, we saw this stat too. When the Mets go up, when they have a 4-run lead or they start off with a lead, it was something along those lines that they've only lost, like, I think they're 45-5, I want to say. Like, I forget what the total stat was, but something crazy like that. This is a team that doesn't give up leads, so immediately the Cubs go down. We knew it was over. The 4th inning, it just felt over. And you know what? I'm with you, Cody. I'm tired of feeling like that.
Yeah.
4-run leads should not feel like the game should be over, and it did. It felt like it was over right away.
Absolutely.
Well, and it yesterday too, like I'm sure people felt that at the ballpark tonight, but like I mentioned in the pregame that there were so many Orioles fans, And like you do get that feeling. Like I know where the Cubs are. I'm aware of what they're doing, or sort of. I think I know what their plan is. At times, I'm not really sure, right? Like, but I get the premise. But you go to a game like last night, and I'm sure Casey was there tonight. I'm sure she felt this with the Mets fans. It does kind of wear on you, where you have a competitive team come into town. Their fans are packing Wrigley Field loud enough that we can hear them on the broadcast chanting. The Orioles are only around 500, but they're competing for a wild card spot. And you do have that feeling of, boy, I miss this. The fans are excited. The team is competing. They're trying to make the playoffs. They're excited. And you see in these series, the Dodgers, the Orioles, the Mets, they're in a different spot. The Cubs just are not. They're just in different places as organizations, and it does sort of highlight that. It's one thing when we're playing the Pirates and screwing around, like whatever, but you see these fans are excited. They're looking at the standings like, oh, we're one game out, we're right there, and
it's a rush.
Here are the Cubs, like and here are the Cubs where when they go down 1-0 tonight, the three of us in the office are like, all right, here we go, strap it in, boys, gonna be another long one.
Spin zone. My guy Jake Banowski in the comments, man. He says I'm going to the ballpark for my bachelor party.
Yeah, we got invited.
And you guys are invited. So, Jake, we had you on
Shout
the
out.
show for Kerry Wood Day. You better be in my DMs and letting me know the deets. I'm just saying.
I think we just got invited.
Oh, do you see the spin
publicly.
zone graphic?
I did see the spin zone graphic.
that.
That's
That's
actually
nice.
really like that.
A little overdue, honestly.
Are we selling? Are we selling those fidget spinners?
Maybe.
With my face on.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that.
I mean, hey, I'd buy it.
Back to
Anyway.
Nico Hoerner for a second. We talked.
Please.
This was the big positive of the night. Still over a 300 batting average, 2 more hits, 6-game hitting streak again for Hoerner. I'm looking at his spray chart right now in Baseball Savant. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Artwork.
I mean, I know I don't have it up on the screen right now, but if you guys go to Baseball Savant, you can see it. I mean, he uses all parts of the field on all counts. I mean, he loves to swing, but he's been taking a lot of pitches. I know his walk percentage is one of the lowest percentiles in the league, down at the 5th percentile. But that doesn't mean that even when he's taking all these pitches, he's still a great 2-strike hitter. He's putting the ball in play. His K percentage is super low, 97th percentile. His outs above average in the field, 98th percentile. Whiff percentage, 94th percentile. I mean, that's not a good thing necessarily, but this Nico Hoerner experience over the last couple of weeks and him emerging as an up-and-coming star at the shortstop position is super exciting.
Yeah.
It's super exciting.
Yeah. I mean,
But what they said on Marquee tonight, he's batting .392 over his last 20 games. It's great. Love to see it.
when I think he's kind of an example of they're different players in a way, but like kind of the big difference between someone like him and Nick Madrigal, right? Where they're both heavy contact guys, but you look at the way, as Kevin pointed out, he uses the whole field. He had 2 hits tonight. One of them was over 100 miles an hour off the bat, I believe. Yeah, 104.4 miles an hour. The other one, 80 miles an hour, right? And he has so much control with his bat, and he can guide the ball to the opposite field if there is a hole there, or pull it down the line with authority. You've seen him hit some more home runs. Like, he's the type of player who is a contact-heavy guy. He doesn't walk a lot, but he's the type of hitter the Cubs have dreamed of for years, right? When they had so much swing and miss in their lineup, a guy that can really command the bat, make a ton of contact, but make deliberate contact to keep that average high, include a little bit of slug, right? Not too much, but like you look at his overall line, like a 114 WRC plus with
awesome.
The best defense in the league, like that is a really, really valuable player. And like, if you're into the base running metrics, he rates positively there too. So every aspect of baseball, right? Running, fielding, hitting, throwing, he's rates positively in all of it. Like, that is an extraordinarily valuable player that is kind of coming into his full form in front of our eyes.
Yeah. If if only you could put some guys around him that got on base and allowed him to knock some more in. I mean, this is a valuable hitter. This is a guy that you can trust with any count. It's a guy you can trust with 1 out, 2 outs. It doesn't matter. I mean, he has been a revelation this year.
If we could go back in time and put him on the 2018 Cubs,
Exactly.
that team wins a championship.
There's actually a lot of guys on this team that I'm like, man, if we could go back and put this guy on the 2018 Cubs. I mean, I know.
Who do you think is number 1 on that? Like right now of this group, if you could put them on a past Cubs team.
What past Cubs team?
On 2018 Cubs?
Let's say 2018.
I mean,
because 2018 was the one they scored 0 or 1 run in 40 games. I think
the bullpen was the biggest problem with that team in the second half that led to them not winning the division. So, I mean, if you could, I'd take Givens or Martin or Robertson, put them. I'd love to put all 3 in that bullpen, especially after Pedro Strop got hurt.
Nico would have been a good one for sure, just because of all the problems they had putting the ball in play and getting guys on base.
Yeah.
It's too small of a sample size, but even Morel, how badly they needed a leadoff hitter just to give them a jolt of energy. Now,
just
I don't
versatility.
I don't think a 22-year-old Christopher Morel is solving all the problems of that team. That's just the reality of it. But a player like him would have been awesome to have.
Yeah.
Yes, and we would have gotten to see him and Javi play together, which I think
that would have been a lot of fun.
The electric energy might have propelled them to.
Yeah. I'm saying Sayre and Nico.
Yeah.
Contact bats, guys that when they come up with guys on base, you're feeling good about it.
Yeah.
Just like tonight, I know I said I felt good about the Cubs' chances of winning with Keegan Thompson on the mound, but to have that feeling, you're going into it, you're like, oh, heck yeah, one of the 2 guys, one of the 3. There's 3 guys in this lineup this year that I'm like, they come up with guys on them feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah.
Hap, Sayre, and Nico.
Right.
I know I'd throw Contreras in there from time to time, but again, the last couple weeks have been pretty rough for him. So those 3, though, have been great all year.
Is an interesting cat, man. His numbers in, you look at some of those clutch numbers. I wonder. I don't have the answer for what the deal with that is, but throughout his whole career, he just is not good in those spots, which is weird because he's really good.
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind of goes into that, but it's an interesting thing to consider, I guess.
This might be sorry, Cody.
I was just going to say, I like Ferris's comment. It says, I need a drink.
Don't we all?
Daniel Norris makes me drink.
Daniel Norris makes me drink.
The thing, though, about that, though, is if we all drank relative to how this team makes us feel, we would all have a drinking problem, a severe drinking problem. So
the show would be a lot different.
You got to do that in moderation, yeah.
I also like David's comment. He says, wish we could get a win the last 2 nights because Kevin has been excellent. Can't believe we have to go back to that Steve guy, laughing emoji. Thank you all.
That made my night. I appreciate that. That was very nice.
And just the nice little slow blow on Luke.
Very nice of him. Minus the Steve I know he's just kidding. But
he's just kidding.
Thank you for that. I am definitely doing my best. The Cubs have given me nothing to work with these last couple nights, but certainly enjoying being behind the mic.
That's the true introduction to doing this podcast.
To the 2022 Chicago Cubs. Hey, tonight, another thing we want to mention is what the heck happened with David Ross? What we saw a brief little pan of the camera out to the third baseline. Ross was super pissed about something. It looked as though he was calling out Carrasco for his pitch motions. And once again, I'm now asking Ryan Herrera to explain what a balk is.
Seriously, when Ryan comes in, that's the first thing we have to ask him. What is a balk? Because David Ross kind of had a point whenever they talked about it. Yeah, Carrasco definitely balked in terms of the way that Marquis explained it to us. So, whatever. I was hoping maybe it was going to fire the team up because, again, like you said, Corey, the team looked kind of lifeless the last couple of days. Maybe I just love to see someone get angry. That as the guy who gets angry here the most, I'd love to see someone in that dugout or something just get angry. Fight a Gatorade cooler or something. Throw an iPad. Get mad. And at least David Ross showed
Take the
some
baseball
anger.
Bat to the cooler like Big Z.
Yeah.
Could use a little life.
Throw a ball to the bleachers. Get ejected and throw the baseball to left field. Something. I don't care. That's how lifeless this team has looked.
I mean, if that was his goal tonight, it didn't work. But I'm curious. I want to go back and watch if I can find the motion of Carrasco because it wasn't something we were paying close attention to. But I mean, David Ross is a catcher, man. He's done this a long time. He knows what he's looking for. If he says it's a balk, it's probably a balk. Probably a balk.
Well, and I mean, you'd have to think that's a weird spot to get ejected if you're not like really sure that something is bothering your hitters or your base runners. Because it felt weird in the game. Like I was, I think, looking at my computer and I heard JD say, oh, and he got the heave ho, and like I looked up, I'm like, he got ejected for that?
Yeah.
Like I thought they cleared that off. Like we didn't even realize that he had gotten ejected. So yeah, I don't know.
Should we? Isaac gave a super chat. Shout out to Isaac. He says, "Show Joey," because everyone in the chat wants to see Joey. Apparently, here he comes.
Let's go, Joe.
Here he comes.
Producer Joey.
What's up, CHGO?
There he is.
Steal Corey's mic here. Now you can't see me, though.
What is going on?
This is a little awkward angle. The set is way smaller than you would think in here. But, I got my Cubs shirt on. Got this in the Gallagher Way store. Have you been to the new Gallagher Way team store? Very nice. Isaac, that was so nice of you, to give some love to our behind-the-camera people. Kevin is usually one of our behind-the-camera people.
Yes.
Cubs Nation, thanks for rocking with us. Thanks for supporting with us. I think it's so awesome that we have so many of you guys watching right now at 11 p.m. after an 8-0 loss. Just appreciate the good vibes. Drop a like, and we'll be with you all season long.
Thank you.
That may have been my favorite super chat so far.
Yeah.
That was impromptu from
That
Joey.
was great. That was awesome.
I think that's a good transition into our sponsors.
Why not?
Yeah? All right. Well,
yeah, you got to make yourself feel better about this game, Cody. You got any positive news for tonight?
You want the best spin zone of the day from me?
His wallet.
Like I said, I bet the Mets tonight. I bet on PointsBet, damn it. If you're not on PointsBet, then I don't know what the fuck you're doing with your life. And I say that kidding and also like seriously at the same time because I love PointsBet. It's my favorite app. I wake up, pick up my phone on my bedside, and I open that damn app up, and I'm like, how do I bet against my emotions today? Because that's what the Cubs make me do. I also love it because it's the best way to support CHGO. If you use code CHGO when you sign up, if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. You even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker, similar to the one that Kevin's wearing down there. That's the Bulls one. It's a great shirt. Has all kinds of swag, sick drip in the CHGO locker. You should all go check it out. There's a new Cub shirt, by the way. It says, hey, Chicago, what do you say? If you want to take some masking tape, put it on the back. We stinks. Fine. A lot of people have asked if we could do that.
It looks good paired with a paper bag over the head.
Yes, looks great.
It's beautiful.
Looks great with a paper bag over your head. Yes. If you have any questions, email pointsbet at allchgo.com and we'll help you. Remember that PointsBet is your home for live in-game betting. They even having new... Oh, I just totally am not reading the right PointsBet ad, guys. That's weird. Joey... Hold on. Anyone got the...
You're reading which part? They have the new exclusive feature?
Let me bring up the one from pregame. I'll
tell you guys.
Okay, here we go. I got you.
Got it? All right.
You're home for live in-play betting. Just got even better. Sorry, Jake. See an edge in the game you're watching. Is your favorite team prime for a comeback? Don't just watch the game, bet along with it live. More live betting, more live markets, and faster live cash outs. Follow along with your bets the moment they hit and stay in the live action all game long. Download the PointsBet app right now and use promo code CHGO. So what are you waiting for? It's time to elevate your live betting game. Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services. And if you live bet the Cubs tonight, then you might need to do that.
So,
sorry again that I don't know how to read ads.
So I don't know if you guys know this. I'm 25 now. I'm a little bit older.
You're the baby in the room. You're
Joey-
the baby on
Joey's
camera right
still
now.
there.
Yeah.
But I'm a little bit older, and I've been looking for a supplement to kind of help me wake up and get going out my day. I'm not 50. I don't need a colonoscopy yet. But this next product that I use it, and I've been starting to use it ever since I've gotten behind the camera, AG1. I didn't have time. I wanted better gut health, more energy, and an optimized immune system. Now I've been on it for about a week. It doesn't taste like it's super healthy. It kind of has this mild tropical taste that I look forward to each morning. It's seriously helped me wake up quite a bit. So what is this stuff? In just 1 scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food-sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, energy, recovery, focus, and aging. Something I'm doing right now. All of the things. I get a noticeable boost of energy, so I take it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. Giddy up. It's a lifestyle. Friendly, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, gluten-free, or dairy-free, you're all good with AG1. You're investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance for less than $3 a day. It's recommended by professional athletes and has more than 7,000 5-star reviews. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with a convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop and a cup of water every day. That's literally it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/CHGO Cubs. Again, athleticgreens.com/CHGO Cubs to take ownership over your health. Pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
I can't stop laughing at the chat when everyone refers Luke as Steve. It's honestly my favorite thing about the chat.
Unfortunately, all stars get colonoscopies. Amen. Amen, Isaac.
Hey, that's the third one. Ryan Herrera set the line at 6.5 tonight that we were going to mention. We've hit it 3 times. We'll see how many.
3. Okay,
we're at 3.
Right.
I'm keeping track.
We're trying. We're not forcing it. It's happening organically.
Luke was in our chat tonight, though. For those asking, he is doing well. He's having do-right donuts. I hope he's watching the show. He honestly might be asleep. He had a good time not watching the game tonight.
The Stuckies were very concerned, though.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Luke has been, hanging out with the little guy tonight because the Cubs game was so boring. So,
it sounds better than watching.
I would rather watch my
watched,
newborn or 8-month-old. I think it's 8 months than watch this game tonight.
Yeah.
So.
Do you know his newborn's name?
I do not. I think he's told me, and I have forgot. I'm a bad friend.
See, son, you'll become a Cub fan too, even though they suck.
And you can Cub however you want
however you want.
Cub however you want, brother.
Go to the game, yell about the Ricketts.
Yeah.
Do both at the same time.
Dance in the bleachers. It's
cheer
fun.
on Daniel Norris. Why not?
Justin says, I'll donate my kidney if it means Wilson stays a Cub. Man, that's big of you. Very big of you.
Bold, not going to happen.
Yeah, I think you can keep your kidney.
Yeah, I was going to say. So we're about a couple days off now from the All-Star break. Can't come soon enough for this Cubs team right now. I mean, good God. All-Star break, home run derby. The home run derby field has been set. No Patrick Wisdom. We talked about him maybe getting a shot, how he had nothing to lose. He could use a little bit of the publicity if he wants to get another contract from some team. It's not going to be for a couple years yet because he's still under club control. But this is a bummer. But also, looking at the lineup, you kind of get the feeling why. Yeah. They went for the lights out. I'm going to tune in. All the superstars. Let's do this thing. Patrick Wisdom isn't one of those guys.
No, I think he would have been kind of so he's the odd man out of the actual contestants in the Derby. The real odd man out is the geriatric old man that they're rolling out there with 5 home runs because the rest of the league needs to be subject to this St. Louis Cardinals whatever capitulating that we're doing.
I like to call it the
right?
AARP
He's got
retirement
5 home
tour.
runs. Give me a break, right? You're the Cardinal rant guy. I won't steal your thunder, but give me a break. It would be one thing if he was bombing home runs, right? 5 home runs you get in the Derby. The thing about Wisdom, though, I would have liked to see it because it is a good story, right, for Major League Baseball. It's a guy who was a career minor leaguer, gets a shot at 29 years old and is, sticking around with a big league club and has, I think at one point earlier this year, dating back to when he had gotten called up, only Bryce Harper and somebody else had more homers than Patrick Wisdom. So, he is sort of deserving of it in a way. I'm more disappointed because I think he would be fun to watch in the home run derby. He hits long, towering home runs. I think he's the type of guy you kind of want to see in a home run derby. Corey Seager's a great player. right? But Corey Seager hits a lot of like line drive, get over the fence type home runs, not always the type that, I think are a little more entertaining, like Patrick Wisdom.
The showmanship, right?
Yeah, I think Patrick would put on a good show,
Well, looking at Wisdom right now, I mean, look at his splits and 88th percentile for max exit velocity. His hard hit percentage, 94th percentile. Average exit velocity, 92nd percentile. Barrel percentage, 93rd percentile. When the guy makes contact, it goes a long way. It would be fun to watch in the Derby, but, I get why he wasn't in there.
I would have liked to see the collar pull that he does with the All-Star jersey, in Los Angeles, but we get Albert Pujols instead. So,
yeah,
Spin zone, though. Albert Pujols is the 8 seed. Guess who the 1 seed is in the Derby?
Kyle Schwarber.
Heck yeah. Guess who's going to knock Albert Pujols out in the first round of that Derby? Kyle Schwarber.
Yep.
But that also, it makes me happy and also angry at the same time. So,
well, yeah. Spin zone to the spin zone.
It's like that Alonzo Mourning meme where he's like,
it's just so It's just very like annoying that Pujols is even going to be like. I get it, him being invited to the All-Star game, as dumb as that is too. Like, the thing about it that honestly annoys me, and this is full-on bias, and this is full-on just me because I'm a Cubs fan, but like Albert Pujols has been washed for like a while. It's not even like he's having a David Ortiz type ending to his career. Like, he has sucked for a while. I mean, the Angels DFA'd him like a year ago, and then the Dodgers picked him up, and he had he was not really a part of that team doing like. The Cardinals picked him up simply for people to buy tickets. That's straight up what it is. And now he's going. Him and Yadi Molina been on this fraudulent retirement tour. It's like the most annoying, and just honestly, it's dumb.
My thing is like, does anybody outside like Pujols is a very well respected guy in the league. I'm aware of that, but like, do fans outside of St. Louis, because I'm asking because I'm obviously biased. I hate them. I hate him. I could give a shit that he's well respected throughout his career, right? I don't care. I hate him. Like,
as you should.
Do people outside of St. Louis want to see a 42-year-old Albert Pujols with his .210 batting average and 5 homers compete in the Derby? Do you think the answer is yes to that? Like, does everybody care about that?
I have a handful of friends who are baseball fans from around the country, Nationals fans, Tigers fans, Twins fans. They're all excited for it.
There you go.
So
there you go.
I don't know if that stands for everybody. I might be in the minority here. I'm okay with Albert Pujols being in the Derby. He's one of the best power hitters of all time. I think he's earned a send off here. I'll give it to him. I'll play devil's advocate.
Cody, we got to get rid of this, Kevin.
I just think that
give him the send off.
The fact that he got put in the All-Star game should have been enough. That's my thing. Like,
sure.
Let him come out, get in a bat, have his stupid standing ovation that everyone's gonna give him. Like, that's fine.
It's all right. He's gonna lose to Kyle Schwarber in the first round.
But
Kyle Schwarber's gonna whoop him, no question. I think our guy Ryan Herrera is here, so gonna get a couple things from him. Ryan, what's up, man?
Hello, guys. Damn, Kevin, I didn't expect to hear you back Albert Pujols. Like,
what's that?
Cody and Corey. I didn't expect you to back Albert Pujols. Corey and Cody are gonna throw you off the balcony for that.
I'm not. I don't like Albert Pujols either. For the record, not at all. Not even in the slightest. But
that's what I'm saying. I was surprised to hear you just back him and say,
I think he's earned this. I think he's earned this spot in All-Star Weekend.
I think he's. I mean, I agree with the commissioner. The commissioner's pick to put him in the All-Star game. Sure, have him get that send off. The home run derby is dumb. He has 3 home runs this year. Like, he's gonna get tired after a few. It's a timed derby now. It is a timed derby, so he's gonna get tired pretty quickly, and then he
won't even make it through that first round.
It's still that spot could have gone elsewhere, but I digress. What's up, guys?
Hi, Ryan.
I said it earlier, Ryan, and here I go. We are once again asking you what a balk is.
The laugh.
I don't know, man. Ross was asked about it after at post game. He just said he had this. He didn't get into too much detail about it. Just said that he and the third base umpire disagreed on what like a pitcher coming set was. He felt that it was kind of random. I didn't see I didn't see what happened prior to Ross coming out of the dugout. And then the ejection obviously happened. You guys saw it on TV. Probably had a little more insight into, or had a better view of exactly what maybe he was talking about. But Ross just said he disagreed with what the third base umpire considered a coming set, really. As far as Carrasco, I think was still in at that point. Maybe it's time to go look at the rule book. Huh?
Could it have been maybe to fire up the team? Because maybe if he was shooting for that, it really didn't work. But maybe because the team can't hit right now, so maybe he was just, hey, let me try this old school manager tactic. Let's go.
I don't know. I don't know. It didn't fire anyone up clearly. So it's an 8-0 loss. You kind of get the feeling. Corey, I think we talked about it. Me and Corey, we definitely said it on one of yours and Brennan's shows a few weeks back. Actually, might have been that Padres series when you kind of get the point where it's like as soon as the Cubs go down a couple of runs, that it feels like it's over. It feels like they're not coming back, regardless of if it's because I felt like the first run that scored in the first inning, I'm like Keegan can definitely bounce back, but it kind of feels like one run feels like 10 runs to make up at this point right now, the way things are going. So no, that maybe Ross had the old school manager pump up the guys by getting pissed. Maybe he could have done a better Lou Piniella impression. Obviously didn't, but it's another tough loss over here from the confines.
Ryan, I'm curious with Keegan, anything from him or Ross on, we talked before you got on just about how hard he was getting hit tonight. Felt kind of uncharacteristic for what we've seen, even when he struggled for pretty much like every batted ball to be in the red. If you're looking on like the Baseball Savant exit velocities, just a ton of hard contact. Any kind of rhyme or reason for them on what kind of the struggles were tonight?
Yeah, they both kind of, attributed just the struggles in general to command and not being able to hit the spots, hit the, edges, corners, what have you. And when you're either missing too far off the plate and you're, getting into bad counts, or you're leaving the ball too far over the middle, which Keegan did a few times today. Obviously, that's been the hard contact, the easy just throw the bat out there and let the ball do the work, right? It just command issues were the main culprit for why Keegan struggled today. We've talked all these last few weeks about how good he's been in the rotation. He had those two, the one in Baltimore and the one in New York, where he got hit really hard as well. That had a bunch of really good ones in a row. So it feels like one of those times where everyone could use the All-Star break. And Keegan even said himself, like, it's obviously not the way he wanted to end his first half. But you go back to the drawing board, you flush it, you figure out what was going wrong, and try to work back in the second half. I think, it was command issues. I think you can chalk it up to he's not going to be on point every game. Corey, I don't know if this affects his mayoral candidacy. I don't know if that's the right way to put it for you. But it just was, Keegan was just off his game tonight, and that's going to happen, especially for a guy still kind of find his footing in the rotation. It's only been a couple months now since he got there, maybe not even that long. So still kind of finding his footing in there. So I think you chalk it up to just you let Keegan try to figure things out in the second half after that.
Yeah, Corey, are you pulling your donation, or Cody, are you pulling your donation from his campaign fund for mayor?
No.
Campaign's in full steam.
Good. Keep that in there.
Cody did not hear me say that at all. Like, he had no reaction when I said that. I don't think he was listening.
Chat, to be honest with you. So I'm sorry. I do that a lot. It's not that I don't want to listen to you. I'm just like reading the chat, and then I'm also like trying to listen to Ryan at the same time. And the chat's been entertaining me.
It's good. He's keeping the chat involved.
Yeah.
Chat appreciates it.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, no, Keegan for mayor. like I said, stays in there.
All right.
So, Ryan, I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to Nico in the last, week or so, but the guy is just hitting the cover off the baseball. He's putting it to all fields. He's locked in. I mean, we gave a call like 5-10 minutes to him earlier on the show about just what a revelation he's been and how he just continues to get better. And on nights like tonight when there is nothing to cheer for, there is nothing happening, Nico Hoerner gets 2 hits. They may not have been the best pitches to swing at, but he finds places and he puts them in right field. He puts them in left center, puts them down the line. What has him so locked in right now, if you've been able to talk to him or anybody who's kind of been around him?
I think it's just, he's obviously coming into his own. We kind of, a couple weeks back, or not even that, but you realize that a lot of his development has come at the major league level because he came up so quickly. After being drafted in 18, and I think next year was already up playing when Javi got hurt. But I think you're just seeing the effects of him developing, him coming into his own, him knowing who he is as a hitter, him the contact oriented approach, but also taking the different things that he's learned, especially with Greg Brown now as the hitting coach and adjusting his game. You're seeing more line drives, more hard contact, like you mentioned, kind of putting the ball to all fields. It's a long list of things that have gone into this, and him just kind of figuring things out really well. And it's been an extended stretch. It's not like it's just kind of a 2-3 week hot streak. It feels like it's been all year, really. And that, I mean, it really is. I know Nico's talked about focusing on the things that makes him good, focusing on his game, putting together good at bats. A lot of the cliche kind of things, but really, when it sounds that simple, it kind of is that simple for a guy like Nico. You're just seeing him kind of starting to figure things out all at once, and it's turned into a really good stretch for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's just straight up locked in right now. I mean, it's the lone bright spot again tonight.
For sure. Yeah. Did you think Patrick Wisdom should be in the Derby?
I thought he had a case for it. Like, I thought he's was it like a top, or at least last time I checked, was in the top 10 of the players that like the home runs since he debuted at the Cubs last year. I think he'd had like top 10, like least number of at bats per home run. Like he had a shot, especially considering some of the guys on those lists that were ahead of him. A lot of guys do the Derby once and then take some, like, don't do it right away or don't do it ever again. There was a lot of, I looked at the list and a lot of those guys had already done it in the last couple of years. I thought he had a chance. I'm not surprised that he didn't get it. I thought it was an outside shot, but it would have been cool. But at the same time, it was kind of one of those things that I feel like the people that are like Cubs fans were starting to speak into existence versus it really being like a likely scenario.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. All right. So want to take our second break here for our sponsor at PointsBet. If you enjoy CHGO, one way to help us continue to grow is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. You know that code. We start every show with it, CHGO. Not only are you going to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our premium web content written by our guy, Ryan Herrera, who we are talking to now. And you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. If you have any questions, email pointsbet@allchgo.com and we'll help you out. And in case you missed it, online sign-up is available in Illinois. You can actually download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. As Cody always likes to say, if Luke can do it, you can do it too. You'll be signing up with the fastest sportsbook, easier than ever, so you can start living your bet life in seconds. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Now, before we get to who you got some news down on the farm. Miguel Amaya to Double-A potentially soon. And we shared Richard Gallardo, 13 batters struck out today over 6 innings. Looking towards the future a little bit here. Spin zone for the 4th time tonight.
Spin zone.
So speaking of the future, I did want to ask, and also because who you got definitely kind of sucked tonight, 9-0 game.
Hey, come on, I
It's
won.
I mean,
Kevin wins,
Yeah.
but I do want to ask because
Yeah.
we've got a
go.
lot of comments in the chat. I know that obviously we're focused mostly on the major leagues because we have to watch every game, but the draft is coming up. The Cubs sit in a good spot at number 7 in a draft where I don't really think there's a clear top 4 or 5. Like there's this guy, TMR Johnson, who people think if he doesn't go number 1 could fall past 7. So I think it's actually a good place for the Cubs. And I'm wondering for you three, are there any prospects you like? Ryan, I'm wondering if you've heard any buzz in the press box about some guys that you think the Cubs might be linked to. And, I know that that's not necessarily our area of expertise, but is there anyone that jumps out to you guys?
I'm going to be real with you real quick. I'll be as real as possible.
Love it
I
when
know
you're real.
nothing really about the draft. All I know is that Ben Joyce once threw a pitch 105 miles per hour, and I wouldn't be mad if he was a Chicago Cub. I don't know if he's like in the realm of where the Cubs are picking, or if he's going to be way after where the Cubs are picking.
He'll probably be after, I think, maybe a 2nd or 3rd rounder. But yeah,
Okay.
he is an absolute
I'm way
flamethrower.
off. Hey, at least I'm honest. I'm being honest with you. I know nothing about the prospects coming up in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, like, you see the mock drafts coming out, and like Joey, you mentioned, it's a lot of there's not a clear like order. They kind of just fly around, guys, especially these high school prospects starting to fall down draft boards, rise, whatever it is. I know there's like you mentioned Johnson. I've seen like Brooks Lee, if he happens to fall that far, I think he's starting to go higher on mock drafts versus where he'd been the last couple of weeks. Cam Collier, JUCO product, was like 17 years old. Like he's
his name a lot
I've heard
in
that name.
connection with the
Yeah.
Cubs. Yeah.
Cam Collier, Kevin Parada, the catcher out of Georgia Tech.
Jack says, I might die if we get NATO. I don't know if I want. I guess that he thinks NATO's really good, but I don't know if I want us to get NATO if Jack's going to die.
We don't want anybody dying.
careful.
I don't think.
Jack's one of the friends of the program. We don't need that.
He might be our number 1 fan with how much he's in the comments. I'm not
When's
sure.
the first round? Is it Sunday?
Sunday.
Sunday.
I think
Sunday?
it's 6.
6 p.m.
Yeah. And
So-
if you look back at the, the player the Cubs take is should be a guy that is going to be, you don't like to throw around the word cornerstone, but this should be a big piece for the Cubs. This is what I say. When you're drafting 7, and I don't think this is necessarily the case for the Cubs, but you don't want to be drafting 7 every year. Like, hopefully you get a guy that's really good so we can get out of the top 10, and I hope that they nail this pick.
Here's a question that I guess we could discuss briefly. Would you rather them take like a high school prospect that will take longer, or would you rather them take a college player who, we could see in a year, like a year or two, kind of like Jordan Wicks last year?
Right. Yeah, I was thinking that because like I liked, I liked the pick last year with Wicks because the idea, and you are sort of starting to see it. Like the idea was he might be a quick mover.
Yeah.
The stuff plays. It's just about kind of putting it all together. He's made some adjustments this year to get more whiffs, and you're starting to see that coming along. And you kind of expect that that's not going to be a super long trajectory. For me, I'm kind of with you, Cody. I defer to there's some wonderful prospect folks out there. Brian Smith, Bleacher Nation, the guys over at Northside Bound, Greg Huss, and those guys. So I defer to them because they're actually watching all this tape. And but I'm good if they just take the best player available. I think in some of the drafts in the 2010s, we saw them take guys. My thing when I watch any draft, whether it's the Cubs, the Bears, anything, I just don't want to be the team where they make a pick that the guy's like a round later on every mock draft and everybody's going, what? Like they did what? Mm-hmm. Maybe they know something, but I feel like those rarely work out. You know what I mean?
The
It kind of like
never turn out. The
I'm
way you
thinking
want it
of
to.
like Hayden Simpson, right? Like when that happened, everybody was like, what? The Cubs did what?
Brett
Who?
Jackson.
Or you're describing Bowles drafts for like a full decade before guard packs finally got canned.
Okay.
That's exactly what Denzel Valentine at like number 16.
Yeah.
Come on.
Like, are they really smarter than everybody else? Probably not, right? Like, just take the guy that's highest on the board. But, at this point, last year, they went with Wicks, the kind of perceived quick mover. So if they wanted to go, younger this time, I think that's fine. But, kind of to, I think it was Ryan's point, or it might have been Joey's point, this is a big pick. The Cubs in the recent past, Theo and moving to Jed, we don't have too much of a sample of, but we're getting it. They hit in the first round a lot. They really only hit in the first round. That's kind of the thing when you look back at Theo, is that those later rounds in the draft were not successful, but those guys they took in the top 10, those early picks, they were very productive for them and contributors
they were up
to big
in just
teams.
a couple of years.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping for.
I would prefer them to take a college player, because then, especially, again, this is someone who doesn't really have an eye on any particular player, but to me, if you get a college player, perhaps they could help the Cubs when they really will be ready to win the World Series here in 2 or 3 years, theoretically. But again, I would rather them just take the best player available. High school players, you just never know. Sometimes you take them and then they don't sign with you.
I think mine and Cody's attitude is similar to, I always say, friend of the podcast, Jeff Everson, is in our YouTube chat here. They should draft a good player.
Yeah,
let's do that.
That's what
he just
said.
The best
Yeah,
strategy.
they should draft
somebody
good player.
That's good.
For all you
Sources
draft
say.
nuts out there, I think it will be interesting to see, like Cody mentioned, Ben Joyce. This guy literally came out of nowhere for Tennessee, and they had one of the best seasons, one of the best regular seasons in college baseball in recent memory. He is literally throwing harder than almost anybody we've ever seen, like consistently. So it's going to be super interesting to see that. And then Kumar Rocker was one of the aces from Vanderbilt last year who got drafted by the Mets. The draft contract fell through because of some injury concerns, so it'll be interesting to see. He's been pitching, I think, in some independent leagues for the last year. It'll be interesting to see what team's going to take a flyer on him, because there's obviously injury concerns, but he's was at least a blue chip talent.
And you dropped it in the chat, but when is, where is the Hispanic Titanic going? When are we getting to that?
The Yvonne
Oh
Melendez.
Man, don't even get me started on
the
this.
Cubs could use a
The
corner
Hispanic
infielder,
Titanic,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's good. I can see him coming up and being like, the MLB, just the way the game is played now. If you don't have to do a ton of things well. If you can come up and hit the ball at a good launch angle with a high exit velocity and hit some homers, like, you'll find your place in a dugout somewhere, and that guy can do that. So I think that, I wouldn't be surprised if he's on a major league roster for a couple of years.
I think I'm okay with whoever they're going to take, as long as, since it's a, top 10 pick, we see him in the next, 3 to 4 seasons. I think a great example of a guy we just saw, a former number 1 overall pick, Adley Rutschman, made his major league debut. He was number 1 pick in 2019 by the Orioles, who are picking number 1 again this year. He was up there and made his major league debut in about 3 years. I think if we see that quick turnaround, I'll be happy with the pick. I'm with you, Cody. I really don't follow too much about these high school prospects. I know a handful of names. I think the Cubs will go a bat. I think they have a ton of pitching in their system, and I feel like they got to develop some power. I just feel like that's where they are at this moment in time.
This regime in the past has usually gone position player in the first round as well.
They have been a lot.
I just have a feeling about that.
I agree. I think they'll go bat as well.
Well,
we'll see.
Sorry to hijack the conversation
you're
but
fine.
I know the chat.
I was actually going to bring it up because someone
Hijack
mentioned
my microphone,
and
the
then,
conversation.
and then you did it for me.
Who do you think you are?
Joey.
You missed it, Ryan.
Damn it.
You missed it.
Joey.
We saw Joey. You want
Show
more
him
Joey?
again. You could always use more
Let me
Joey.
work on it. Hold on.
Well, let's talk about who you got tonight first. How about that?
Boo.
Are we sure we don't want to just give it to Luke?
Well, Luke can have my
No,
point.
We don't want to give it to Luke.
Luke can have, Luke can
I
have
would
my
have given
point.
it. Luke, I want you to know if I had won, I would have given it to you. Stucky for life.
Stucky.
But my second crack at it. I'm the big winner. Seiya Suzuki, 2 infield hits tonight. I'm going to take it. Let's go.
Way to go, Kevin.
Let's go.
This is
2 hits,
so
2
sad.
singles.
This is so sad.
Willie
I will
Notto.
never win. I really think I'm never going to win.
Yeah, I
At least
can't
your
believe
guy
I
had
beat
a
you.
walk. My guy
he did.
gave
Morel
up 5
did
runs
get on
in 4
base.
innings.
So
Yeah. How many shots have you had at this? A lot?
probably close to 10,
Yeah,
I
we'll
would
take
guess.
it.
Yeah. No, I'm never going to win. And
Hold that
I
out.
apologize to any player that I ever pick.
Kevin now has
guys,
1.
Give Joey the point. Give Joey the point. Joey deserves it.
Ryan, I vouched for
One
you
Joey.
yesterday, man. I vouched for you yesterday. And you're going to give away my point like that? Only I can give away my point.
Dude, that first base hit, honestly, Seiya got
All right, I'm here. I'm here, Cubs Nation. What's up?
hey,
I don't get the point
Oh,
tonight.
the party's full.
I'm actually
Go,
ineligible. I'm ineligible to win any Who You Got points until Hayward returns from injury. So
Absolutely.
I feel like
Joey
when he comes
automatically
back,
takes Hayward every
I
time.
should get to take Hayward.
no. I have I don't know what you call it, but I have him like reserved. I have all of him
But
bought
the
up.
players I pick always do bad, and I don't want anybody else to do bad.
Well, then why would you take Hayward? Well, I guess that actually
He's going to
makes
do
sense. 'cause
bad
he's gonna
whether
do
I
bad
pick him or
anyways.
not. I got no control over that.
That's true.
I'm trying to leave people like Christopher Morel alone, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Cubs
You know,
lose
I appreciate
8-0
you guys.
tonight. 7th loss in a row.
You got a mini rant out of me.
It's
I
not going to
promise
get any
you-
better.
Get your ice cream ready for the
I
weekend,
promise
folks.
you Monday.
Might be a long one.
If we come back on okay, so Corey and Brennan, they'll have a show on Sunday to recap the series. But I'll be back Monday with Luke. And if the Cubs have lost 10 straight going into that off day, I will give you all what you want. And just an absolute
you
rant. If some of you don't want it, well, I'm sorry. Because I'll probably be pretty pissed off that the Cubs have lost 10 straight games twice in one season. I hope the one I gave you tonight was good enough.
Ryan, you'll be back at the ballpark tomorrow?
I will indeed.
All righty. We appreciate your coverage as always. Marcus Stroman gets the ball for the Cubs tomorrow.
Revenge game.
Yeah, there you go. Marcus Stroman
Spins out.
revenge
Maybe
game.
we snapped the streak tomorrow because of that.
I was on the record saying the streak would be snapped tonight. I was big wrong.
We'll try again tomorrow.
Big
It's always
wrong.
tomorrow.
We're just waking up and doing our best, folks. The team's
just
doing the
trying.
same, you know.
7 games in a row losing. We'll see if Marcus Stroman can get the Cubs back on track tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by to the CHGO Cubs post-game show. We appreciate all you guys tuning in, seriously. Tonight was a blast. I don't know the next time I'll be behind the mic. Hopefully it is soon, but did want to thank Luke Stuckmeyer for letting me hop in his seat tonight, as well as Jake Flanagan and Kevin Kadek for the opportunity, and you guys as well. And all of the comments, you guys were great. Let's try and get this thing back on track. I know the All-Star break's coming up, but let's get this thing back on track. Nobody likes losing. 21 games under 500. Not fun. Not fun at all.
On pace, I think, for 100 losses now.
something like that.
Not good.
I might go to the
Great job,
ballpark
Kevin.
tomorrow. If you're going to be at the ballpark tomorrow, DM me.
Kevin-
I might go tomorrow.
Kevin, it has to be said on the airwaves, you did a phenomenal job, and I think I speak for the whole CHGO crew, and we are excited to have you back whenever that may be.
Just don't ask me to talk about the MLB draft again.
And hopefully the Cubs will score more than 1 run in 2 combined games when you're here next.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, guys, thanks for stopping by to the CHGO Cubs postgame show. We will talk to you guys next week. Until then, let's get some wins, huh?